You probably think your dog's quirks are just quirks, little habits, nothing more. But what if I told you that every time they lean into you, follow you from room to room, or press their body against you at night, they're speaking a language you were never taught to hear? Dogs don't use words, but they communicate with absolute clarity, through instinct, emotion, and centuries of co-evolution with humans. They watch us, mirror us, feel with us. That gentle sigh when you sit down. The way they bury their head in your lap after a long day. These aren't random. These are emotional signals, messages meant for you. And today, we're going to decode them. One by one. 11 common dog behaviors you've probably seen 1,000 times, but never truly understood. Until now. Because somewhere in these simple gestures, there's a story. Maybe of protection, maybe of grief, maybe even love. So let's begin not with what your dog does, but with what they're trying to say. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. 1. Why they lean into you. You're sitting quietly on the couch, maybe with a book, maybe just watching the rain. And then, without a word, your dog walks over and gently leans their body into your leg. No bark, no request, just presence. To most people, it looks like nothing. But to your dog, that lean is everything. This isn't about asking for food. It's not about claiming territory. It's about anchoring emotionally and physically. Think about it in the wild when animals are frightened, cold, or unsure. What do? They huddle close. They press their bodies into each other. It's instinct. Touch equals safety. And for dogs who've been through trauma rescues, seniors, or service dogs, this kind of contact isn't just comforting. It's survival. Many PTSD support dogs are trained to lean into their handler during panic attacks to bring their heart rate down. Even untrained dogs figure this out on their own. Why? Because they've felt your energy shift, and they want you to borrow theirs. Your dog may not understand why you're sad, tired, or overwhelmed, but they know that you are. And leaning into you is their way of saying, I can't fix it, but I'm not going anywhere. That gentle pressure against your side might seem simple, but in their language it's the same as a friend reaching for your hand. So the next time it happens, don't brush it off. Sit still. Breathe. Let them be your anchor. Because that lean isn't a nudge. It's a whisper. I trust you with my world. But that bond doesn't stop when you leave the room. In fact, for many dogs, the connection only gets stronger the moment you stand up and walk away. 2. Why they follow you from room to room. You get up to grab a glass of water. 5 steps later, you hear the soft padding of paws behind you. Kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, garage. No matter where you go, they follow. At first it might feel sweet, then maybe a little weird, even annoying, but what looks like clinginess is actually one of the purest expressions of loyalty a dog can offer. In the wild, a pack stays together. Movement means survival. And for your dog, you are the pack. But it's more than instinct. Dogs sync themselves to our routines, our rhythms, even our moods. Some studies suggest they can even sense changes in our blood sugar or cortisol levels. So when you move, they move. When you sit, they curl beside you. When you cry, they come closer. They're not checking up on you. They're staying connected. And for many dogs, especially rescues, seniors, or dogs that have lost someone, before your presence is their safety net. Your steps are a signal that everything is okay. And your absence, even for a moment, can feel like the beginning of loss. So when they follow, they're not being needy. They're saying, I've lost before, I won't lose you. You're not just their person. You're their compass, their rhythm, their peace. Let them follow. even if it's just to the bathroom. Because to them, your presence equals peace, and your absence even for a moment feels like uncertainty. But it's not just your footsteps they care about. When it's time to sleep, their instincts show something even deeper, even more vulnerable. Something that says, I trust you with my life. 3. Why they sleep pressed against you. It's late. The house is quiet. You settle into bed, maybe hoping for a good night's sleep. And then, like clockwork, your dog jumps up and wedges themselves right next to you, pressed against your back, your legs, your chest. Sometimes so close, you can't even turn over. They have the whole bed, the whole room, but they choose one spot, your side. Why? Because sleep is the most vulnerable thing an animal can do. In the wild, sleeping alone means danger. It means no one is watching your back. So when your dog presses their body against you at night, it's not just about warmth. It's trust. It's them saying, if I close my eyes, I know you'll keep me safe. And for some dogs especially, rescues who once had no home at all, this closeness isn't a luxury. It's healing. It's how they finally believe I'm safe now. I belong. But here's the part people miss. It's not always just about them feeling safe. Sometimes it's them making sure you are. There are stories of dogs sleeping against owners during grief depression, even illness staying close, sensing something deeper, refusing to leave. It's their version of standing guard. So the next time you feel them breathing against your side, don't push them away. That's not just cuddling. That's a sacred pact. When they sleep touching you, it's not convenience, it's trust at its rawest. And when they're awake, they have another way of saying, I see you. I feel you. One that doesn't involve movement or sound, but a look that cuts right through to the soul. Why they gaze into your eyes. You're sitting quietly, maybe having your morning coffee, maybe doing nothing at all, and you feel it. That stare. Your dog just looking at you. Eyes soft. Still. Focused. Not blinking. Not looking away. At first, it might feel a little strange. What are they staring at? Do you have something on your face? But here's the truth in the world of animals. Direct eye contact usually means challenge, aggression. But in dogs, especially dogs bonded with humans, it's something else entirely. It's love. When your dog locks eyes with you, they're not asserting dominance. They're reaching out, making contact. In fact, science backs this up. Studies have shown that mutual gaze between dogs and their humans increases levels of oxytocin in both. That's the same hormone that helps mothers bond with babies. This isn't dominance. It's devotion. It's I know you. I trust you. You are mine. And sometimes it's more than love, it's comfort. In hard moments, that steady gaze can be grounding. For people with anxiety or PTSD, dogs often hold eye contact during distress to help stabilize their human. That look becomes a tether. So when your dog gazes into your eyes, let them. Gaze back. Breathe together. You're speaking the only shared language you both have, one without words. Because sometimes all they need is for you to look back and say, I see you too. But not all messages are loud or bold. Some are as soft as a breath barely noticed, unless you're listening close. Like that long, deep sigh when they finally settle next to you. 5. Why they sigh beside you. It's quiet. You're finally sitting down after a long day. Maybe you're not even talking. Just being. And then that sound. Your dog lets out a long, slow sigh. Not a huff, not a whine. Just a soft exhale from deep inside their chest. And you wonder, what does that mean? Are they bored, tired, disappointed? The truth is, a sigh from a dog is often a signal of release, of contentment, of safety. It's what happens when they finally let their guard down, when the world outside fades, and they're able to just be with you. Imagine carrying invisible tension all day, hyper-aware of sounds, moods, your shifting energy. For many dogs especially, those tuned into your emotional ups and downs, that sigh is a way of saying, it's okay now. We're okay now. It's emotional exhale. Dogs that sigh beside you often aren't asking for anything. They're sharing something, a moment of peace. It's the canine version of flopping down and saying, man, what a day. So don't mistake it for disappointment. That soft sigh is their signal that they feel safe, loved, and finally, at rest. That sigh is a release of weight they no longer carry, because you're there. And when the world isn't calm, when tension rises or your mood shifts, they have another signal to let you know they feel it too. And they're trying to help both of you breathe again. 6. Why they yawn. Around you, you yawn. 2 seconds later, so does your dog. You smile, maybe even laugh a little. Copycat, you think. But deep down, a question lingers, is that even possible? The answer is yes, and it means far more than most people realize. Yawning in dogs isn't just about being tired. It's one of the most underrated forms of emotional communication. In a study from Kyoto University, researchers found that dogs are more likely to catch a yawn from their human than from a stranger. That's not coincidence, it's empathy. It's emotional mirroring. Your dog sees your tension, your fatigue, your shift in breath, and something in them reflects it. They feel it with you. They release it with you. But yawning is more than just mirroring. It's also a calming signal, especially in stressful or uncertain environments. Dogs yawn at the vet during car rides or when there's loud noise, not because they're sleepy, but because they're trying to stay regulated. And sometimes, they're trying to help you do the same. A dog yawning near you might be saying, I sense the tension. Let's soften the air together. So don't overlook it. That little jaw stretch might be the most human thing they do all day. Because a yawn is more than fatigue. It's shared emotion in motion. And when those emotions build up, when the moment feels too full, too tense, too uncertain, your dog has one more quiet trick up their sleeve. They shake it off. Quite literally. 7. Why they shake themselves. When dry, you've seen it 100 times. Your dog stands up, takes a few steps, and gives a full-body shake. Head to tail. No water. No bath. Just shake. It looks random. Maybe even funny. But it's not. That dry shake isn't about dirt. It's about emotion. Dogs use shaking as a reset. A way to transition from one emotional state to another. It's their nervous system's version of a let-it-go button. After a moment of stress, like being held too long, hearing a loud noise, or being around tension, they shake. Not because something's physically on them, but because something's in them. And that movement helps release it. Even after joy, like a wild play session, they might shake. Not to stop the fun, but to reset before they shift gears. It's the same reason humans sometimes rub their face or shake their hands after a shock. It's a return to neutral. So the next time your dog gives that quick, snappy wiggle out of nowhere, pay attention. Ask yourself, what just happened? What did they pick up? What emotion are they shedding? Because when they shake, they're not drying, they're grounding. But not every emotional signal is loud or visible. Some are tucked in the softest places, like when your dog quietly tucks their head into your chest and disappears into your scent. 8. Why they bury their head into you. It often comes without warning. You're sitting on the floor, or maybe lying on the couch, and your dog slowly pushes their head into your chest, or under your arm, or into your lap, nestled so deeply, it's like they're trying to disappear. No sound, no wag, just quiet closeness. This isn't just cuddling, it's something much deeper. When a dog buries their head into you, they're doing what they would in a pack, pressing into the one who makes them feel safest. For some, it's a way to escape overstimulation. For others, it's a response to anxiety. But for most, it's comfort, connection, grounding. And scent matters here. Dogs are ruled by smell. Your scent, especially in places like your chest, neck, or armpit, is packed with identity, emotion, and memory. So when they bury their head there, they're not just hiding. They're soaking you in, resetting. Owners often notice this when they're crying sick or emotionally off balance. And sometimes dogs do it when they feel overwhelmed. It's how they say, "I need you to be my safe place right now." So let them burrow. Wrap your arms around them. You're not just hugging them back. You're answering a wordless question. Can I rest here? That nose dive into your chest. It's their silent way of saying, I'm overwhelmed. Can I borrow your calm? But not all love comes face to face. Sometimes your dog turns away from you entirely, while guarding your space with quiet strength. 9. Why they sit facing away from you. It's a small thing. You're both on the couch. You're petting your dog, maybe talking to them softly, and then, without warning, they shift. Their back faces you. They sit tall, still, eyes scanning the room. At first it feels like rejection, like they're ignoring you. But in their language, it's love in action. When a dog sits with their back to you, especially while remaining alert, they're not turning away. They're positioning themselves between you and the world. It's a guarding instinct. In the wild, the alpha rests at the center while others take the edge. It's protection through positioning. They sit where they can see danger coming so you don't have to. And for emotionally bonded dogs especially, rescues protectors, or those raised with vulnerable humans, it becomes second nature. They don't just lie beside you. They face out, watching, listening, covering your blind spot. It may not look like affection, but that still backward posture is one of the most selfless gestures they give. It says, I've got this. You rest. So next time your dog turns their back to you, don't call them rude. Know that they're watching out for you in the way they know best. Because facing away isn't rejection, it's protection. And then there's that one gesture, the one that melts everyone. A small tilt of the head, a soft stare, ears perked. As if they're trying to read your mind. And maybe they almost can. 10. Why they tilt their head. When you talk, it's one of the most heart-melting things they do. You say a word, maybe walk treat, or just their name, and suddenly their head tilts. One side, then the other, ears perked, eyes locked, like they're trying to solve a puzzle they don't quite understand, but desperately want to. And here's the thing, that's exactly what they're doing. Dogs tilt their heads for a few reasons, and none of them are random. Part of it is mechanical. Adjusting the angle of their ears helps them locate the direction of a sound more precisely. It's their way of fine-tuning their hearing. But it goes beyond that. Some researchers believe head tilting is a sign of heightened engagement of mental effort. Dogs with longer snouts may tilt to get a clearer view of your face, especially your eyes and mouth. Others do it because they're focusing, trying to understand not just what you're saying, but how you're saying it. Tone, emotion, familiar words. One study even found that more intelligent dogs tend to tilt their heads more often when processing verbal cues. It's like they're asking, did I hear that? Right? Are you saying what I think you're saying? It's cute, yes, but it's also connection. Listening, learning, trying. That tilt. It's not confusion. It's attention. It's your dog leaning into communication saying, I care about what you're saying even if I don't speak your language. And sometimes when words aren't enough, when emotion hangs thick in the air, they don't tilt their head. They don't make a sound. They simply reach out and place a paw on your arm. 11. Why they put their paw on you. You're sitting there. Maybe you're feeling low. Maybe you're just quiet. And then without warning, you feel it. A paw. Soft. Still. Resting gently on your arm, your leg, your hand. They don't look at you. They don't ask for anything. They just place their paw on you and stay. To someone else, it might look like begging, a request for food, a habit picked up over time. But to your dog, it can mean something far more intimate. That paw is a bridge. It's how they say, I'm here. It's how they say, I see something in you I don't understand, but I want to be close to it anyway. It's how they anchor you, just as you anchor them. In canine communication, physical touch is one of the most powerful signals. Calming signals like leaning, yawning, soft eye contact are all designed to de-escalate, connect, and comfort. Placing a paw is part of that same vocabulary. It's connection through presence. And for many dogs, especially rescues emotional support animals, or those who've watched you struggle, it becomes instinct. They see your body stiffen. They hear the change in your breath. And they reach out. Not to take, but to give. I can't fix this, but I'll sit with you through it. Some dogs will do this right before you cry. Others during grief. Some even when your blood sugar drops or your breathing falters. They sense, they respond, with a paw. So next time it happens, don't brush it off. Don't think it's nothing. Because to them, it's everything. That paw isn't asking for something. It's offering something. Because now that you've seen what each gesture means, each sigh, tilt, lean, and stare, you may realize something you hadn't before. Because now that you've seen what each gesture means, each sigh, tilt, lean, and stare, you may realize something you hadn't before. These weren't just habits, weren't just quirks. They were conversations. And your dog's been speaking to you all along. Every lean said, I trust you. Every sigh meant I'm safe now. Every gentle paw was their way of saying, you're not alone. They don't use words, but they've never needed to. Because presence, loyalty, and love. That's a language of its own. And now you speak it too. So tell me, what's one thing your dog does that you now see differently? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if this video helped you see your dog with new eyes, please consider subscribing. This channel is for people like you. People who don't just own dogs but understand them, feel them, live with them like family. Hit that subscribe button and join a community of dog lovers who believe every wag, every sigh, every quiet look means something. And in the next video, we'll explore one of the strangest canine behaviors, why dogs suddenly stare at the wall, and what they might be sensing that we can't. If your dog is your family, this is your home. Stay with us. You are sleeping soundly, the kind of deep sleep that only comes after a long day. The house was still the clock ticking in the dark. And then you felt it, a gentle weight pressing against your chest. Not heavy, not urgent, just there. You opened your eyes and found your dog's paw resting right over your heart. His eyes fixed on you, as if he was checking something only he could sense. Maybe you thought he just wanted to go out, or maybe it was a clumsy accident. But what if it wasn't? What if that paw was saying something you've never been taught to hear? You feed him, walk him, keep him warm at night. You've given him love in every way you know how. And in return, he gives you loyalty, companionship, maybe even a laugh or two when you need it most. But here's the thing, What if the most important message he's ever sent you didn't come in a bark, a wag, or even a cuddle, but in that simple act of placing his paw on you? Most people think it's begging for food. Some think it's a demand for attention. But if you've ever had that paw land on you when you were sad, sick, or even asleep, you know there's more to it. In fact, only a small fraction of dog owners truly understand what that paw really means. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Think about the times it's happened to you. The way he rests his paw on your knee when you're lost in thought. The way she presses it gently against your arm when you're sitting in silence. Have you ever stopped to wonder why? What if I told you that every time it happens, there's a story unfolding? A story that could be about love, about protection, or even about your health. In the next few minutes, we're going to decode 10 powerful reasons your dog reaches out to you with that paw. No complicated training, no special tools, just a shift in how you see him and how you let him see you. By the end, you'll not only understand the gesture, you'll feel it in a way you never have before. Ready to see what only a few dog owners in the world truly understand. Let's begin with the most common yet least understood reason. Your dog places his paw on you. When your dog's paw meets your skin, something happens. Something you can't see, but your body feels it. Inside both of you, tiny chemical messengers are firing. Your heart rate might slow just a little. Your shoulders drop, and without even knowing it, you take a deeper breath. Have you ever noticed that a single touch from your dog can make the whole world feel less heavy? Science has a name for it: oxytocin. It's often called the love hormone, the same one that bonds mothers to their newborns. When your dog places his paw on you, especially with that soft, steady pressure, it's not just affection, it's biology. Research shows that physical touch between you and your dog boosts oxytocin in both of you, lowering stress and deepening trust. And here's the wild part: it works both ways. Your dog feels calmer, safer, more connected to you at the exact same moment you feel the same about him. Think back to the last time it happened. Maybe you were sitting quietly and his paw just slid onto your knee. You didn't ask for it, and he didn't demand anything in return. He just stayed there. That wasn't an accident. That was his way of anchoring himself to you and pulling you closer into his world. And in that moment, without a single word, you were both telling each other, "I trust you. I'm here." But here's where it gets even more interesting. What if that same paw, the one you think of as a sign of love, is sometimes something else entirely? What if in certain moments it's less about comfort and more about keeping you alive? Could your dog's paw actually be a warning, a quiet way of saying something's not right? It might sound far-fetched, but the next reason will make you see that paw in a way you never have before. For some dogs, that paw isn't just affection, it's an alarm you didn't know you had. You might think you're fine, but he knows better. Have you ever had your dog paw at you out of nowhere? His eyes locked on yours, almost refusing to let go. Maybe it happened when you were watching TV or drifting off to sleep, or even when you felt perfectly healthy. What if that paw was your early warning system? Dogs can detect changes in your body that you can't feel yourself. They pick up on shifts in your breathing, your heart rate, even your scent when your blood sugar drops. Diabetic alert dogs are trained to paw their owners when glucose levels fall. Cardiac alert dogs do the same when they sense an irregular heartbeat. And here's the thing, many untrained dogs do it too. They may not know why something's different, but they know it is, and they're trying to tell you. I've heard stories from people just like you, a man whose rescue pitty pawed him awake in the middle of the night, only for him to realize later he was having trouble breathing. A woman whose Goldie put her paw on her sister's lap moments before her insulin monitor beeped. You can call it instinct, you can call it training, but either way, it's life-saving. So the next time that paw lands on you out of the blue, ask yourself, what's he feeling that you're not? Could he be catching something before you do? And here's another question. If he does this when you're perfectly healthy, why? What is he trying to tell you? Then, that's where we need to go next. Because sometimes that paw isn't a warning at all. Sometimes it's a blanket of calm in the middle of your storm. Sometimes that paw isn't sounding an alarm. It's wrapping you in quiet reassurance. You know those days when the weight of the world sits squarely on your chest, when you can't quite put into words what's wrong, but you feel it anyway. Your dog feels it too. He doesn't need to hear you say you're stressed. He doesn't need to see tears. He feels it in the way your shoulders slump, in the way your breathing changes, in the way you move just a little slower than usual. And instead of leaving you alone, he closes the gap, reaches out, and places his paw right where you'll notice it. Science tells us that when this happens, something chemical is happening inside you. Touch from your dog can lower cortisol, the stress hormone, almost instantly. It's why PTSD support dogs are trained to use pawing as a grounding tool. That gentle contact pulls you out of the spiral and into the moment, back to a place where you can breathe again. And sometimes you don't even realize how badly you needed it until it's there. Have you ever been sitting quietly, maybe thinking about something that went wrong, and then felt that little nudge of fur and warmth on your hand? Did you stop what you were doing, even for a second? That pause, that's him giving you the space to come back to yourself. For him, your calm is his reward. But here's something most people never think about. What if the paw works both ways? What if in that same moment, he's not just comforting you, but asking for comfort himself? Because for dogs who've lived through loss, fear or long nights alone pawing isn't just about giving. It's about reaching for the one place they feel safe. And that's where we're heading next. Because when you see that paw from his side of the story, everything changes. For some dogs especially, those who've been through more than you'll ever know, that paw isn't just a gift, it's a lifeline. Think about a rescue dog who's known hunger cold, or the sound of a gate closing behind them. Think about an old dog whose joints ache a little more each morning, who's seen people come and go. For them, safety isn't something they take for granted. It's something they reach for. And often, they reach for it through you. When your dog lays that paw on you in the quiet, it can be his way of saying, "Don't drift too far. I need you close." It's not about food or play or even a walk. It's about anchoring himself to the one person who makes him feel like the world can't touch him. Have you noticed how sometimes he'll do it right, before you leave the room, or when you're distracted, or after a loud noise? That's not coincidence. That's need. Rescue dogs, senior dogs, even those who've simply had a rough week. They all have moments when the world feels just a little too big. And you are their small, steady place in it. That paw is his way of holding on. And here's the thing, when you respond, when you rest your hand on his paw, or lean into him for a second, you're not just easing his fear. You're reinforcing a truth he carries deep inside. You're not going anywhere. But here's something that might surprise you. This need for reassurance isn't just personal, it's ancient. Long before they were sleeping on our couches, dogs lived by a code written in the wild. A code where touch was survival, and proximity was protection. And that's where we're headed next. Because to truly understand the paw, you have to understand the pack. Before your dog ever had a bed by the fireplace, or a basket of toys, his ancestors lived by rules you and I could never survive without. In the wild, the pack is everything. It hunts together, travels together, rests together. And touch isn't random, it's communication. Wolves and wild dogs use physical contact to signal everything from "I'm with you" to "I've got your back." A paw on the shoulder or a nudge from behind can be the difference between safety and danger. When your dog places his paw on you, he's not just borrowing from the language of love, he's speaking the ancient language of the pack. In that moment, you're not just his person, you're his pack leader, his hunting partner, his safe place. Have you noticed how he sometimes does it when you're out in public or when strangers come close? That's not random. That's positioning. He's reaffirming the bond, and in his own way, reminding you that you belong to each other. And here's where it gets interesting. Pack touch isn't just about closeness. It's also about guarding. In a wild setting, one member rests while another stays alert, often maintaining contact to signal "I'm here, I'm watching." When your dog rests his paw on you while scanning the room, he's not just relaxing, he's on duty. So the next time you feel that paw while his gaze is turned outward, ask yourself, who is he watching out for? The answer is always you. And that protective thread runs deeper than most people realize, because in some cases, that paw is doing more than connecting, it's quietly placing itself between you and the world. And that's exactly where we're going next. Sometimes that paw is more than a sign of belonging, it's a shield. You might not notice it at first. Maybe you're sitting on the couch reading and your dog shifts his weight so one paw rests gently on your leg. Or you're lying in bed half asleep, and he stretches out just enough so his paw touches your arm. It feels casual, almost lazy. But then you realize his eyes aren't on you. They're on the door, the hallway, the space beyond your little bubble. This is instinct at work. In the wild, a member of the pack might keep physical contact while watching the surroundings, ready to alert the others if something changes. Your dog may not be chasing predators away from a den, but in his mind the role is the same. Keep you safe. That paw says, "You rest, I'll watch." Have you ever been in a new place, someone else's house, a hotel room, and noticed your dog staying closer than usual, paw touching you more often? Or have you seen him do it when a stranger walks into the room, his body still but alert? That's not by accident. It's him claiming the spot between you and whatever's out there. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Sometimes that protective instinct isn't loud or obvious. There's no barking, no growling. Just that quiet, steady contact, letting you know you're covered. But when that paw comes with something else, when his eyes lock on yours while he's touching you, the meaning deepens in ways most owners don't realize. That combination of touch and gaze can change the whole conversation between you. And that's where we're headed next. When that paw touches you and his eyes meet yours, the conversation changes. It's no longer just a signal you can feel, it's one you can feel and read at the same time. Dogs rarely hold eye contact in the wild. Among animals, a stare can mean challenge or threat. But with you, your dog's gaze is different. It's soft, steady, almost like he's looking through you, instead of at you. And when that gaze comes with his paw on you, the message is amplified. Science has proven that mutual eye contact between you and your dog raises oxytocin levels in both of you. Add physical touch to that, and you're doubling the effect. It's why those moments feel so grounding, why your breathing matches his without you even realizing it. Have you ever noticed that 1 second you're lost in thought, maybe feeling a little off, and then you meet his eyes with his paw still resting on you, and suddenly the noise in your head just quiets? In that moment, he's not just there, he's with you, tuned to your rhythm, waiting for your response. And here's the question: what do you think he's reading in your eyes? Because if you've ever felt like he can sense your mood before you speak, you're right. He's picking up more than body language. He's listening to your heartbeat, your breath, and now the look in your eyes. But this combination isn't always about deep emotional connection. Sometimes that paw and gaze duo is just his way of saying, "Come on, let's go." And the trick is knowing the difference. That's where play comes in. Because in the middle of a game, a paw can mean something completely different. And if you mistake it, you might miss out on the fun. Not every paw on you is a heart-to-heart moment. Sometimes it's pure mischief. You've seen it the way he bounces toward you mid-game, plants a paw on your arm, and then bolts away like you've just been tagged. In those moments, it's not about comfort or protection. It's about pulling you into his world of play. Dogs use their paws with each other the same way tapping a shoulder or chest to start a chase or signal your turn. But here's where it gets tricky. Play pawing can look a lot like affection pawing, if you don't know what to watch for. Have you noticed how his body language changes? In play, the paw comes with bright eyes, a loose body, maybe even a play bow. In affection, it's slower, more deliberate, paired with calm breathing, or that soft sigh you've felt against your arm. Why does this matter to you? Because how you respond teaches him what that paw means in your relationship. If you treat play pawing like affection, you might end up encouraging him to demand attention when you're not ready. If you treat affection pawing like play, you might miss a chance to connect when he's reaching for you emotionally. So how can you tell the difference in the moment? The answer often lies in the seconds after the paw lands. Does he spring into motion ready to run? Or does he settle in waiting for your hand? And here's another layer. Sometimes pawing isn't play or affection. Sometimes it's something he's learned, gets him exactly what he wants. That's where we're going next. Because once you realize you've been training him without even knowing it, you'll see that paw in a whole new way. Sometimes that paw isn't about instinct at all. It's about you. More specifically, it's about what you've taught him, even if you didn't mean to. Dogs are masters at patterns. They notice what works, what gets a reaction, and they store it away like a favorite toy. If every time he rests his paw on your leg, you give him a treat, or scratch behind his ears, or let him up on the couch, guess what? He's going to keep doing it. Not because he's trying to trick you, but because in his mind, pawing equals reward. Have you ever caught yourself responding before you even think he lays that paw down, and your hand just goes to his head? Or you automatically say, "Hey, buddy," and start talking to him. You might not even notice you're reinforcing it. Over time, this turns into a loop he can't resist. He paws, you react, he gets what he wants. Now, there's nothing wrong with a habit built on love. But if you've ever found yourself wondering, why does he paw me constantly when I'm busy? This might be the reason. He's not being pushy. He's just doing what you've trained him to do without realizing it. So here's the question. How do you keep the sweetness of that paw without letting it become an unwanted habit? The answer isn't to ignore it completely, but to respond in a way that teaches him when pawing is welcome and when it's not. And that's where we're heading next. Because when you learn to answer that paw the right way, you're not just managing behavior, you're deepening the bond in ways you can both feel. Every paw your dog places on you is a message. The real question is, are you answering in a way he understands? If you've followed him through all the reasons we've explored, you know by now that pawing can mean love, protection, reassurance, play, or even a learned habit. And the way you respond is what shapes how he'll use it in the future. When it's a moment of affection, Maybe he's calm eyes, soft breathing, steady. Acknowledge it. Rest your hand over his paw for a second. Let him know you feel the connection too. That's you speaking his language back to him. When it's play, bright eyes, bouncy posture, join in if you can, or redirect if you can't. That teaches him you're paying attention, but also that you set the rhythm of your time together. If it's a moment of need, he's pawing because he's anxious, or you sense something's off, pause. Look at him, read the rest of his body language. Is he trying to tell you something about your own health, like those stories we've talked about? Or is he asking for comfort? In either case, meeting that need strengthens the trust between you. And when it's just a habit he's picked up, decide if you want to keep it. If not, wait for a different behavior to reward eye contact sitting quietly so he learns there are more ways to connect. The point isn't to stop the paw, it's to guide it, so it always carries meaning you both value. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you started treating every paw as a chance to connect instead of just react? How much deeper would your bond go if you answered his language with your own? Because once you start doing that, you'll never see his paw the same way again. And when we circle back to that moment in the dark, the one where his paw rested over your heart, you'll understand why it mattered more than you ever realized. Have you ever wondered, how do I know if my dog truly loves me or just really loves the food bowl I fill every day? Many people believe that giving their dogs delicious meals, fancy toys, or frequent belly rubs is enough to express love. But the truth is, there are simple, sometimes even strange, behaviors that, if you pay close attention, are actually your dog's most honest, "I love you." And here's something that might surprise you. Sign number 6 might be the clearest one of all, but it's also the one most people overlook, even those who've owned dogs for years. If you love dogs and don't want to miss more videos like this, hit that subscribe button now, so every time you come back, you and your pup will understand each other a little better. Have you ever wondered, how do I know if my dog truly loves me or just really loves the food bowl I fill every day? Many people believe that giving their dogs delicious meals, fancy toys, or frequent belly rubs is enough to express love. But the truth is, there are simple, sometimes even strange, behaviors that, if you pay close attention, are actually your dog's most honest, "I love you." And here's something that might surprise you. Sign number 6 might be the clearest one of all, but it's also the one most people overlook, even those who've owned dogs for years. If you love dogs and don't want to miss more videos like this, hit that subscribe button now, so every time you come back, you and your pup will understand each other a little better. A dog's love doesn't always look the way humans expect it to. They can't speak, but they have their own language, through their eyes, their tail, a gentle head tilt, or even sitting directly on your lap like you're their personal throne. And it's these small, subtle things that often reveal the real answer, whether you're truly the one they love the most. And sometimes, that sign is written right across their face. It's that moment you walk through the door after a long day, and your dog's eyes light up, and then one of their eyebrows raises just a bit higher than the other. It sounds tiny, easy to miss, but according to a study from Japan, when dogs see the person they love the most, they tend to move their left eyebrow more than usual, a unique emotional reaction they don't show when looking at their favorite toy. So, next time you come home, if you catch their left eyebrow lifting and their face subtly shifting in a special way, congratulations! You just might be the most important person in their world. Try noticing it. It's amazing how love can show up in something as small as a twitch of an eyebrow. But if that loving look still doesn't melt your heart, what happens next just might. Dogs can't smile the way humans do, but they have their own kind of smile. Some dogs give you a soft grin, some stick their tongue out to the side, and others, if they're truly comfortable, will gently roll onto their back, belly up, looking at you as if to whisper, "Please, give me a rub." It might seem like a simple gesture, but in the world of dogs, exposing their belly means total trust, so much that they're willing to let their guard down completely. Of course, be mindful. It's also possible that a dog rolls over because they're nervous or itchy. So if you see them breathing calmly, eyes soft, body relaxed, take it slow and gently rub their belly. Because that's not just a stomach. It's an invitation into the safest part of their world. And as you gently rub their belly, you might catch them looking at you, slowly, and holding that gaze a little longer than usual. Did you know that according to another study from Japan, when dogs gaze into the eyes of someone they love, their oxytocin levels can increase by up to 130%. This is the same bonding hormone that is released when a mother looks at her child. Just one look, and if you are someone special to them, they will hold that gaze as if they are memorizing every little expression on your face. So if your dog often tries to lock eyes with you, know that you are not just the one who feeds them or takes them for walks. You are their entire world reflected in those eyes. And if you are petting your dog and notice them leaning gently into you, do not assume it is just a random position. That lean, that soft weight against you, is your dog's way of saying, "I want to be closer to you." It is a sign of emotional connection, an unconscious behavior from a creature that feels safe and happy. And if they only do this with you and not with others, then congratulations, you are the favorite pillow of their heart. Try sitting on the floor and petting them. If they lean all the way into you instead of pulling away, that is a quiet kind of love, but a very real one. Some dogs do not enjoy being petted too much, but that does not mean they do not want to show affection in other ways. Sometimes they will sit right in your lap or plant their butt on your leg like they are saying, "This is my personal throne." It might sound a little funny, but this is how some dogs express a gentle kind of possessiveness, like a declaration that you belong to them. With larger dogs, it can feel a bit heavy, but the affection behind it is just as sweet. If you notice your dog constantly climbing onto you, sitting on your legs, or resting their head on your thigh, understand that they are trying to be as close to you as physically possible, as if shortening the physical distance will bring their heart even closer to yours. But closeness does not always have to mean sitting on top of you. One of the most heartwarming and practical signs of love is when your dog brings you a toy. It is not just an invitation to play. It is an act of sharing something they love most with the person they love most. And interestingly, if you have shown excitement for that toy in the past, they may have learned that bringing it closer to you will get your attention and interaction. Sometimes they might even turn away the moment you reach for it, turning it into a playful game of chase. But behind all that mischief lies a very sweet truth. They just want your attention, your time, and to share a little moment of closeness with you in their own uniquely doggy way. But if bringing you toys still is not enough to make your heart melt, there is something else. It is smaller, more subtle, and easy to miss if you are not paying attention. It is the way your dog tilts their head or gently leans their back against you while you are petting them. What seems like a mindless little movement is actually a deeply sincere emotional gesture, a creature quietly trying to get closer to someone they love. Dogs cannot say, "I love you" with words, but that lean is their own version of the phrase. And if they do it with you more than with anyone else, chances are you are already holding a very special place in that little furry heart. And sometimes you have barely left your seat without even saying goodbye, when you hear a soft whine behind you, a nervous stance, and those wide, round eyes that seem to ask, "Where are you going?" A strong reaction when you leave is not just a sign of dependence, it is a sign of deep attachment. When a dog does not want to be apart from you, even if it is only for a few minutes, it shows that your presence is not just part of their routine, but a crucial piece of their emotional safety and happiness. Love does not always need to be grand. Sometimes, one lingering look as you walk away says it all. And when you are home, pay attention. In a house full of rooms and comfy corners, why does your dog always choose to lie exactly where you are sitting? Even if the tiled floor is cooler or the couch in the other room is softer, they still curl up in the same space you are in. That simple choice says so much. Their willingness to stay in the same room with you, even when nothing is happening, proves how peaceful your presence feels to them. You do not have to constantly entertain them. Sometimes, just being there is enough to make them happy. What is even more incredible is when your emotions begin to affect their mood. Dogs who are deeply bonded with their humans often respond visibly to their feelings. Have you ever been sad, and your dog quietly came over, laid their head on your leg, or simply sat beside you in silence? Or maybe when you were dancing around the room in joy, they joined in, wagging their tail and spinning in circles. These are not coincidences. Dogs can read and mirror your emotions, and this silent kind of love shows most clearly when your feelings become their frequency too. Another fascinating way dogs show love is by mimicking your actions. Some dogs do not just follow you around. They yawn when you yawn, stretch when you stretch, and even lie down when you do. This is known as mirroring behavior, and it indicates a high level of emotional alignment between you and your dog. Just like long-term couples tend to adopt each other's habits, your dog slowly syncs with you in both behavior and mood. No commands, no training, just love, making you more alike every single day. And then, there are dogs who do not display any grand gestures at all. They do not jump on you or run around with toys. But then, at the most unexpected moments, when you are watching a movie or lying on the couch, your dog quietly walks over, touches your hand with their cold little nose, and lies down beside you without saying a word. That gesture is small, but meaningful. It is like a gentle hello, a silent affirmation that says, "I'm here with you." Those nose touches are not just random. They are a quiet, steady form of connection, deep and sincere. Just like those quiet nose touches, some gestures might seem ordinary, but are actually powerful declarations of love. One of the sweetest is when your dog chooses to sit in your lap or place their whole body on your legs, as if those legs were their personal throne. Many people think dogs only like lying next to you, but sitting right on top of you is a way of claiming emotional space. It is their way of saying, "This person is mine." With small dogs, it is adorable. With big dogs, it might feel like being crushed. But either way, it is a privilege they reserve for someone truly special. And if you have ever walked through the door after hours away and been pounced on by your dog, claws scraping your clothes, ears flapping, tail wagging like crazy, do not rush to scold them. It may not be the most polite behavior, but in that moment, they are simply overwhelmed with joy. They forget every bit of training, toss all rules out the window, just because they missed you so much. If you have ever clutched your chest after one of those enthusiastic leaps, think about this. When was the last time someone was that excited just to see you again? Some dogs go even further and express their feelings in ways that are, well, a little awkward, like trying to mount during playtime. Do not panic, and do not assume they have some strange intentions. This is not sexual behavior. It is a reaction to extreme excitement and affection, and they just do not know how else to channel that energy. It might look funny or embarrassing, especially if guests are around, but it is really just a sign that they feel safe and unfiltered around you. No need to encourage it or scold them harshly. Sometimes, a gentle look of understanding is all they need. For dogs with a protective nature, love is expressed through watchfulness. If a stranger enters your home, they move forward. If someone gets too close while you sleep, they sit up and observe. Even something as simple as hugging someone unfamiliar might make your dog squeeze between you, silently saying, "Nope, this person is mine." These protective actions do not have to be loud or aggressive. Sometimes it is just them lying in the doorway, sitting outside your room, or following behind you whenever you leave the house. However they show it, the fact that your dog feels the need to guard you is one of the clearest signs that you are truly important in their world. And sometimes, love shows up not through action, but through words, or rather, the way dogs respond to them. Some dogs know the exact name of the person they love most. When someone says, "Where's Dad?" or "Where's Mom?" their ears perk up, eyes scan the room, tail starts wagging. To them, your name is not just a sound. It is a collection of everything they associate with joy. Your smile, your scent, your laugh, your presence. That might be why they respond faster when you call their name, and why they search immediately when someone else calls yours. And finally, if there is one sign that makes you say, "Okay, this is just weird," it might be their jealousy. A study with 24 dogs found that when their owner gave attention to another dog or person, these dogs would actively try to interrupt or reclaim that attention. If your dog has ever wedged themselves between you and someone you were hugging, or looked grumpy when you pet another dog, do not get upset. They are simply telling you in their own way, "I don't want to share you." And believe it or not, that is one of the most honest, unfiltered, and absolutely adorable forms of love. A dog's love is not always loud. Sometimes it is just a glance, a gentle lean, or their quiet presence beside you for no particular reason. And if you start to notice those little things, maybe you will realize that you are already the one they love most in the world. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to like, share it with other dog lovers, and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss more heartwarming videos like this one. Now tell me in the comments, what is the sweetest or strangest thing your dog has ever done to show their love for you? I would truly love to hear your story.